At CrossFit Lincoln, our passion is positively impacting and changing lives by creating a strong, brave, healthy community through education. We talk about nutrition, fitness, mindset, and more. From the RoRoFlix studio, I'm Aaron Perkypile with Phil Kniep, Paul Konarski, and Emily Breedy. Welcome to CrossFit Lincoln Connections. I'm Aaron Perkypile, and I'm here with Rachel Hayes. And I'm excited to celebrate a little bit late, but celebrate October, our October Athlete of the Month. Welcome, Rachel. So I'm pretty pumped because in September, Michael, your husband, was Athlete of the Month. And this is the first time that we have had a couple be Athlete of the Month at all. Okay. Right. So we haven't had any other couples that we've been able to, or we've done yet, where there's the husband and the wife, or the partners both.
Wow.
Athletes of the month. So congratulations, you're the first.
That's excellent.
So take me back a little bit. You guys have been in the gym. You've been in the gym now for a little over a year.
Mm-hmm.
When you were Athlete of the Month for October, what kind of got you guys started? What got you started? Brought you in?
Yeah, I'd been running and not making much progress. And my doctor had recommended to continue running, but to add strength training. And he pushed the strength training for like a year. And then finally, after a year of not listening to him and not making any progress or not any real progress, I was like, well, maybe we'll try strength training. And so I went in with the intention of 3 days a week. That was it. Just do strength training, focus on running, and nothing else. And so that's why we started. I went in and I've got my concern with doing strength training on my own was that I was going to hurt myself, that I didn't know how to do the correct form on the for the different movements. And I knew form was important. That is where you injure yourself, is where you're not doing the correct form. So I wanted coaches. I wanted someone to tell me, this is how you do it. This is the weight you should use. These are the way to balance the movement so that you're not always just, doing legs or just arms or something ridiculous like that. So that's why I kind of started looking into it. At the same time, I had a friend, Beth, who had just started at CrossFit about 2 months before, and she was loving it. She was kind of dying, but kind of loving it at the same time. And I knew the Geist, Mark Geist is a coach there, and Stephanie works out. And I'd known them for years and knew when they started CrossFit, it was something I looked at, but ultimately didn't try. And so I was like, oh, I could maybe do this, like at this particular place. And when I went in and told my doctor, said, hey, I'm going to sign up for strength training finally. And he was super excited. And then I was like, I'm going to do CrossFit. And he was like, no, don't do CrossFit. I was like, wait, but why not? And he goes, because you're going to injure yourself, because they do crazy workouts and, this is going to be a problem. And I was like, but Beth's not injuring herself, right? Beth is telling me that they scale it, that they help you, they give you feedback. And I know Mark, and I'm like, Mark's not going to do this. So if this is one of the coaches, then maybe not. And so I asked him, well, what places would you recommend? And he gave me a list of other places to look at. And I looked at it and I was like, they're kind of doing the same thing. I just don't know anyone at those gyms. Right. So I went ahead and signed up at CrossFit anyway, and found out, that you do scale it. You can make the movements workable. And I've not been concerned about the injury or the progression, or, am I doing too much of one side of my body and not the other, that kind of thing. So
sure. Sounds like off camera, you might have to give me the name of this doctor and I'll give him a call.
He's been super pleased, by the way.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
That's good to hear. Now you've done, so you were running beforehand, and I remember I got to sit with you and Michael when you both came in, and you had already kind of started working on the nutrition side on your own.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it was last winter or January, maybe, we had the nutrition challenge and had a couple different seminars and things, and you came to those.
Mm-hmm.
How has your nutrition changed from when you started to where it is now? Has anything changed since then?
Yeah. So one of the biggest changes after going to the seminars, and then especially doing the nutrition challenge that you guys started, I think it was when we had to go virtual.
Mm,
in April, maybe it was a little
yeah.
bit later than that, but um, it is how I approach my eating day in and day out. So I had done nutrition. I knew kind of what I should be eating and what maybe I shouldn't be eating, but I thought of it in that way: should eat, shouldn't eat, good
Right.
for you, bad for you. And one of the things the coaches talked about, especially Emily, was not really thinking about food in terms of good or bad, or even always healthy and unhealthy. But what I've really liked is this going to get me to my goal? What's my goal? What do I want to do? And is this going to help me get there?
Right.
I'm a goal oriented person.
Yeah.
So that changed my mindset. And it really does help, because sometimes I'm like, is this going to help with my goal? Right. With, if I'm working on a PR, or if I'm working on going to so many workouts in a week, or running, if I'm going to increase my running distance, that kind of thing, like, is this going to help me get there? And if
Sure.
not, is there another choice I could make that would help me get there? So I think that's been like
Awesome.
the biggest thing for me.
So it sounds like kind of a mindset shift for you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Um, now, in the last, when did you start doing? So we have our group classes, and we have
hmm
nutrition, and we have personal training, and we have this thing called team training. That there's a handful of folks that are kind of dipping
Yeah.
their toes in that. It sounds like that's something that you started. You
hmm
started kind of started as butts and guts, and then it morphed into the team training. Tell me a little bit
Yeah.
about how that came about.
So um, I had started to get, when we moved the transition, when everyone went virtual and my
Yeah.
work went virtual. So like right now I'm in my office at school. My office at school is meant for me to sit at a desk, and I've got my computer set up the where it's at the right height. My chair is, fitted for me. I'm short, so it actually is hard to find furniture that's fitted just right, but this chair is fitted just right. And when I had to switch to teaching from home, teaching virtually, I was using Michael's desk. So the desk was a little too high, the chair was a little too high, and I didn't think it'd be a big deal, and it was. And so I really kind of tweaked my low back, and I was feeling it when I was sitting too long, and then in certain movements in the workout. And so my doctor told me that what I needed to do, because of what I had, that it wasn't an injury per se, but that it was just this tightness that I got in the low back. I needed to do more core strength and
Mm,
work on that. So I was doing some extra core strength movements, but I wasn't kind of progressing fast enough for me.
sure.
So I joined the Butts and Guts class to build core strength.
Okay.
And that's when I started with that. And I really liked it. And I felt stronger, not just in my core, but then in the other exercises and the other movements. I
Right.
was noticing that I was more confident. I was able to lift more because my core was tighter, and I was able to engage it better. I knew what it was supposed to feel like. Um,
Awesome.
so, and then in once the semester started in August, uh, Butts and Guts overlapped with classes that I was teaching, so we switched to team training, and so
Okay.
I've been doing team training since then.
Fantastic. Now I heard that you had been doing 2 days a week of team training, and now you're maybe transitioning to 3 days a week. How many
Uh,
days a week are you doing 2 workouts a day? Because for a while that was happening.
yes, for in the summer when I wasn't teaching, or I wasn't teaching a full load, I was doing 3 days a week. We'd gotten up to 3 Butts and Guts Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then 5 days during the afternoon, and then Saturday workouts as well.
6 days a week.
Um,
Wow.
yeah. Um, and then right now, with the semester going on and teaching a full load, I'm at usually two, so Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Okay. What how did you go into, because it sounds like you came into working out at the gym. You're like, I have a plan. I'm going to run mostly 3 days a week of
hmm
training. Did you ever
Yeah.
see yourself getting to a point where you were a 6 day a week, 5 day a week, some days even twice a week or twice a day type of a person?
No, because I didn't think I'd enjoy it. And
Really?
that was, I think, one of the biggest surprises for me. Not only did I say like, okay, I'm going to do my 3 days a week, but I told Michael, I said, I'm giving them till October. I essentially started in August. He started a month before me because I was on vacation. I was gone for a month. And I was like, I'm giving them till October. And then if I hate it, I'm not going to go back. I'm never doing this again. And I had to make myself commit to, those first few months because I thought that I would just stop. So I wasn't expecting to enjoy it. I do enjoy it a lot. I love the movements. I love seeing progression, even if it's slow, and I am slow. But I like going in there and having a challenge, working towards something and making those incremental steps until it's better. So
sure. What have kind of been some of the bigger jumps or the bigger progressions that you've seen for yourself in the movements, maybe?
Yeah, so I'm more comfortable doing some of the overhead stuff, in particular since this summer of working on my core. Stuff like shoulder press has been, I can lift quite a bit of weight over my head, which I wouldn't have thought possible. That's been fun.
Awesome.
Even the pushing myself harder during some of the workouts, knowing that I'm going faster, again, not fast, but faster than I was, but that I'm able to push more. I'm not having to rest as much in between. I would like build in my own rest, right? If there's like 3 movements, I'm like taking 30 seconds in between to kind of catch my breath and, okay, now I'll start the next movement when we're supposed to be trying to kind of move through them quicker. And now I'm able to do that better. So I'm seeing that kind of increase, which is just nice to know that I am getting more fit. I'm healthier than I was.
Awesome. What has been, so you said that kind of the big surprise for you was that you actually enjoy working out, you actually enjoy coming to the gym. Yeah. What would you tell yourself if you could go back, a year or a little bit before that? What would you tell yourself? What advice would you give yourself?
To start. Yeah, I mean, right, to get in there and start doing it, and to keep pushing, to keep trying it. So not to be so concerned that you're going to hurt yourself. That was always my big concern. One of the reasons the doctor wanted me to do strength training is because I had compartment syndrome in my lower legs, which is where when you exercise, your blood flow gets restricted because the covering over the calf muscles in my legs wouldn't expand. So instead of getting more blood flow to my calves, I was getting less when I tried to exercise. And because I was very heavy, I was running into going into the doctor and being like, I'm trying to run. And when I run, I get excruciating calf pain. And they're like, well, you're overweight, just keep pushing. And so I would keep pushing, which is the wrong answer when you have compartment syndrome, because you are causing damage to your lower calves. And it took finding this doctor. And I went in and said, look, I have calf pain when I run. And I'm not talking about muscle tiredness. I'm not talking about this is hard work. I mean, excruciating pain. And it is now to the point to where 5 minutes into a run, I am dying. My legs just don't function the way that they should. And he believed me. So he ran, different tests, different referrals. And finally I had surgery. And so that fixed that problem. But I was so concerned that I would go another 2 or 3 years of getting an injury and not being believed, or not being able to progress because my body was injured. So I was very hesitant to try the strength training. That's why I didn't do anything when he was like, do strength training. And I was like, nope, not going to hurt myself, because I've just done that. And I didn't make any progress, and it was terrible. So that's what I would tell myself. Just do it. It's scaled the way that it should be. You're going to be fine.
Sure. Yeah. How have your goals changed since starting?
Well, my mindset when I first started was just to show up and get through the workout, which occasionally is still a goal, but usually not. Usually I have a more specific goal. So if I look at the workout ahead of time, it's okay, I'm going to try to finish, if the time cap is 24 minutes, maybe for this workout, my goal is to finish in the time cap, or maybe it'll be, try 22 minutes.
Sure.
So just that kind of difference. So more looking to challenge myself than just getting through it.
Awesome. Has it changed the dynamic at home at all?
We talk a lot more about working out than we had before.
How do you know if you're a CrossFitter? You talk about CrossFit all the time. Is
I
that kind of
know
the thing?
it's terrible, but it's fun. So I
Yeah,
want to talk about it all the time. And it's really nice to have Michael doing this with me. So before we joined the gym, and I was, running, I would run, but he wasn't really running. And I would talk to him about it all the time. Like, hey,
yeah,
I picked up this pace, or I was able to push harder on the last mile than, the mile before. And he would listen and engage. But it's different when he's doing the same kinds of workouts or doing the same kind of movements, because now our discussions are just a little more detailed. They're a little more in depth, and he's contributing more than just listening to me. Um,
sure.
so
And you have
yeah,
you have two daughters that are in college.
we
Are they
do.
tired of hearing you talk about it yet?
Actually, our oldest has joined us on the team. Well, joined me at the team training. So she's
Awesome.
going 2 days a week, um, and
That's awesome.
she kind of likes it. She's like, "Oh,
Uh-oh.
this is kind of fun." I know, right? So yeah, the
uh,
youngest is like, when we start talking, sometimes she gives us a look and then she leaves the room. She'll get
uh,
there
um, so it sounds like we need to somehow wrangle her into the gym as well.
somehow. Oh,
What's it
she's
gonna take?
that I don't know. It really, I was just about to say she's stubborn. She gets it from both me and Michael. And so it'll take her wanting to go to the gym. And I don't know what that will take, but we'll be ready for her when she does. So
How has working out helped or hindered your 2020? It's been a wild year for everybody. How has it helped or has it?
uh, it has helped. So particularly in March and April, when kind of our transition to virtual happened, school was very chaotic. I had, semesters last like 3 or 4 months, and I have them planned out before they start. So I know what I'm doing. And I make adjustments as we go for student needs or just, random things that happen, but they're small adjustments because I have a plan and it works.
Right.
And so when March came and we had to move virtual, I had to really revise everything I had planned for my classes. And it was very stressful, but every day I would go in and have that. I was doing the 4:30 class. I just knew that at the end of the day, I would get to go not into the gym, but virtually from my home into class and work out. And that helped clear my mind. It helped kind of with my sleep. My sleep wasn't disrupted very much during that time,
Great.
even though I think it easily could have been from stress and change. And so I think that helped a lot just to be active.
Yeah. So how has working out consistently and being kind of a member of this community, how has that changed? Have you seen a change in your mindset outside of just health and nutrition and fitness? Has that kind of carried over into other parts of your life?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not quite sure if this is what you were getting at, but I'm more energetic in other parts of my life. So I'm not so tired on the weekends. I'm not so tired in the evenings, which is kind of ridiculous because I do an evening workout, and so I'm I'm a little bit tired. But give me a half hour and then I'm good.
Yeah.
And it's pushing, and it's taken a while to get there. And then when I started doing the twice a day, then I was really tired again on those days. But I'm getting back to where I'm not so tired even on those days. Um, and so it's given me more confidence, more motivation to do more outside of the
Sure.
gym because I have more energy.
Have your students or your coworkers noticed?
Uh, I don't know if students have noticed. Um, I've noticed in my classes, from my end, but since students change every semester, we do get to see some students consistently. But I'm not sure if they've noticed. I have brought it up a couple of times. I do try not to talk about it all the time in class, but I also teach lifespan. So it's good for adults to know that starting strength training is really good, not only for your physical body, but for mental health and for cognitive health. And that's something I always talked about before because the research is there. So you talk
Right.
about it. But now I'm able to talk about more specific examples in those classes. So
Sure. Some personal experience. Speak from personal experience.
yeah.
Personal research of your own. So in the next year, you're a little over a year in. A year from now, where do you hope to be at?
I hope to be running more. So I had started initially with the running, and then when I got to the workouts, I pulled back on the running some. But that is something that I'm starting to incorporate more now.
Okay.
So focusing more on that goal now that I do have more energy outside the gym. And how am I going to channel that energy, right? What am I going to do with it? So hopefully some better run times, some longer runs than I had been doing.
So are you somebody that signs up for a 5K or a 10K or a half marathon, something like that?
Actually, Michael and I were just texting before it started. I think my Christmas gift this year is going to be for the Bryn series. It's a series of 3 10Ks next year.
Oh, really?
And yeah, that's going to be, so it'll be my first 10K and then my second and third 10K next year. That's
when
the
are
goal.
those at? Are those in Nebraska?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
When's the first one supposed to happen?
First one's in March
Ooh.
6th. That's what I was texting. I was like, do you think I could run a 10K by March? And he's like, well, I think you could, get the training started and
yeah.
So
what's your longest run so far?
5.5 miles.
Okay.
And that was when I had compartment syndrome, and that's the one that just killed me. So I couldn't run very well after that. And that's when I was like, nope, I definitely have to find a different doctor. I have to find someone who believes that this is something and so that we can do something about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's not that far off of a 10K.
No, it's not.
And you just told me that you're fitter than you were before. So
yes,
you got that.
So that's what Michael said.
Oh, man. Well, I tell you what, I love seeing you in the gym. You always bring a lot of positive energy in, and you're really excited to work hard and just kind of put your head down. It's fun. It's been fun to see you progress in the last, over a year, probably 14 months, and see the transformation that you and Michael both have kind of gotten to experience, and to see you more comfortable in classes. It's been a blast.
Yeah,
it's been a blast. Thanks for letting us be a part of that journey.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you want to give anybody a shout out on this?
So Beth, that's my favorite, of course. But also I love the people in my 4:30 class. That's the one I go to the most consistently. Yeah. Emily, who's not in the 4:30 class very often anymore, but I still think of her as belonging to our class. Lindsay, Carrie, Jessica, also not in the 4:30 class anymore, but again, still belongs. Cody, Beth Ann, these are, just people I get to see every day and work out. So it's fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, congrats again. Thanks so much for taking time today, and just keep plugging along. We're excited to celebrate you. Thanks a lot, Rachel.
Thanks, Aaron. Bye.